Tim McCreadie breaks through with Rocket. Bobby Pierce can't make up any ground. Plus weekend World of Outlaws and High Limit results. And we'll remember Scott Bloomquist. Let's go. It's Sunday, August 18th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is Dirt Tracker Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. It took 25 Lucas starts to do it, but Tim McCreadie is finally a winner in the Rocket House Car. He led the 52 laps last night in the topless 100 and did a nice job managing his stuff all the way to the end. It was a battle between him and Ricky Thornton Jr. for a lot of that feature, but RTJ went out of the lead with 35 to go because of a flat tire. McCreadie inherited back the lead from there and never gave it up again. Jonathan Davenport went 15th to second and Garrett Alberson was third. Both Ethan Dodson and RTJ got a tire at that lap 65 caution, and both were able to drive back to top 5 finishes. I think it shows just how much harder those guys could run on that newer rubber. McCreadie started on the pole of the Friday feature at Batesville and ran third behind Thornton and Dale McDowell after he was docked on the initial start for jumping. I wondered then if he was maybe pressing a bit, trying to get that first win, because that's not really a mistake you see T-Mac make very often. I felt like last night, though, was a very McCreadie performance in a race that was really about that management. It was his first topless 100 win since 2008. As the regular season starts to wind down here, he's edged out a 60-point cushion on Hudson O'Neal for that final chase spot. Now that the pressure is off for that first win, I'm going to be super curious to see how McCreadie does down the stretch here. They've been really consistent. Now the question will be, can they knock off some more wins and really challenge for this championship? There are rumblings about that Rocket House Car for the future, and McCreadie is trying to make his case for why he should stay beyond this season. I still think RTJ is the championship favorite here, especially with what we've seen through this first 2 weeks with that new Longhorn chassis and Chris Madden running the show. They got the Friday win, laps led Saturday, plus that bounce back top 5. More big money is coming this week when the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series heads to Port Royal with $50,000 to win on Saturday night. With the other touring late model series, the World of Outlaws, what a weekend it was for Brian Shirley. He won the Wednesday night show at Highland Speedway, then came to Maquoketa Friday and Saturday and won both of those as well. I don't know what those guys found, but 3 in a row is a seriously impressive run of races, especially against this group. Shirley dominated the Friday show and then battled last night with Cody Overton early, then Bobby Pierce. Pierce picked up a flat with 13 to go, though, and it was all Shirley from there. Nick Hoffman nipped Brandon Shepard right at the end for second. Pierce had actually picked up ground on Bishop in the title fight after the Wednesday and Friday races, but that flat last night cost him all of the progress he'd made. His 12th place result and Bishop on the podium sees the gap right back to 76 points. We're down to just 10 race nights left in the season, and Pierce is going to start running out of chances quickly. Hoffman still holds second, but he's slipped to 64 points back following 4 nights of finishes 12th or worse. He needed that second place run last night to try to stay in this thing. The Outlaws head to Atomic Speedway this week for 2 nights. At Jackson Motorplex, the Jackson Nationals wins were split between Carson Macedo and Donny Schatz. Schatz stopped Macedo's dominance at the track last night with a green to checkered win and a $25,000 payday. Sheldon Hodenshield made a last quarter run at Schatz, but couldn't get a move done. He and David Gravel were the podium finishers, and those two also on the podium Friday behind Macedo. I was impressed again with Emerson Axum. He just keeps on running well and picking up good finishes. He'd led laps and had a podium at Beaver Dam. He was 6th in the Kings Royal. He made the Knoxville Nationals main event and then 5th last night. I would not be surprised to see him pick up a big sprint car win before the season was over. The Outlaws are back this week with 2 nights in North Dakota. They'll be at River Cities Friday and Red River Valley on Saturday. Gravel still inching away in the championship fight. The gap back to Schatz is now 106 points. Macedo 142 behind, still within striking distance, and then everyone from Gio Selzian 4th on back has pretty much lost touch. Out in California, the Kubota High Limit Sprint cars are off and running on their West Coast trip. Races at Tulare, Hanford, and Placerville, and they had 3 different winners. Thursday night, Kyle Larson outdueled brother-in-law and fellow series owner Brad Sweet for his 6th straight win in a sprint car. He started 5th and led the final 9 laps in that one. Since missing the feature at the Kings Royal and then showing up with that turned-up exhaust, he swept the Ironman 55 weekend, won the Front Road Challenge, handled his prelim night at Knoxville before then a 55-lap dominant run at the Nationals, and now this Tulare victory. Even during that magical 2020 season when he won 32 times, he never went 6 in a row. It's probably good for his competitors that his focus will be shifting probably more towards the NASCAR playoffs here very soon. At Hanford, it was a similar story for Brad Sweet, lead a bunch of laps early, but then get beat late. This time, though, it was Tyler Courtney. Sunshine had been up and down, I feel like, this summer in high-limit competition, but it was a solid drive. Rico Abreu ended up second for the second straight night as well, and Sweet third. And then last night at Placerville, it was a brutal race through lap traffic, with James McFadden eventually coming out on top of Justin Sanders and Corey Day. I believe there were 28 cars in the feature last night with provisionals. That's a lot of race cars on the very small Placerville surface. It was high limit win number 2 for McFadden, and a nice way to close the weekend for Sanders, who had tough nights at Tulare and Hanford. The wildest moment of the night came with just 4 laps to go when the lap car of Jamie Veal just suddenly checked up off turn 2 and collected second running Zeb Wise and Brad Sweet. Wise was in contention for the win, which his team desperately needs, and Sweet was in the top 5. I have no idea how Sweet was able to continue in that one, as he hit Zeb's 26 broadside. Everybody thankfully okay in that one. Zeb's showing some speed out west, but last night, just really bad luck. And from my friends down under, if you were curious about Jock Goodyear's opening stretch of races here with Paul Sylvan, the 57W, he was 16th at Tulare, 19th at Hanford, and 11th in a B-main last night. Not much change in the high limit standings with Gold Cup up next. Sweet still leads Sunshine with Rico up to 3rd, Brent Marks is 4th, and Corey Day in 5th. 60-plus sprint cars and $100,000 to win at Chico starts on Thursday. Other weekend open wheel winners included an ASCS sweep for Sam Haferty. Zess Sabo was an AFCS winner at Attica. Chase Dietz won at Williams Grove. Riley Goodnow was a MOA winner at Lincoln. Greg Wilson took the IRA show at Wilmot. Darren Nida was a Maverick winner. Matt Campbell won at Lincoln. Robbie Kendall and Mike Wagner split Port Royal wins. And Justin Grant and Dakota Armstrong were Silver Crown winners. If you want some racing action today, you've got plenty of options, including the Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series from Sonoya. Their show last night got interrupted during heat races, and they will continue racing today. There's also IRA at Angel Park, USAC East Coast Sprint Cars, and lots of regional action. Check out the streaming schedule over at DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight. Finally today, it's been a rough weekend for late model fans and really the larger motorsports community following the tragic loss of Scott Bloomquist. Back on Friday morning, Bloomquist was killed in a plane crash on his property in Tennessee. He was flying a 1938 Piper Cub and was the lone occupant of the aircraft when it apparently crashed into a barn. The 60-year-old driver started his incredible racing career in the early 1980s and along the way became one of the sport's greatest drivers. Something like 600 feature wins. He won the Lucas title 3 times, the Outlaw title, was a 4-time Have at Tampa champion, and joined the Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame in 2002. He was a winner of the Dirt Late Model Dream an incredible 8 times and won the World 100 4 times to go along with a whole slew of other major race wins in his career. And besides the late model chassis innovations through his Team Zero and all of the success on track, Bloomquist was one of the most polarizing figures in the sport's history. He was as recognizable as it gets, was always good for a soundbite, and elicited strong responses and emotions from those that both loved and hated him. Even over the last several years, as his career slowed down due to a variety of factors, including lingering injuries and ailments, people were still fascinated by what the Voodoo Child was up to. His final national touring victory came against the World of Outlaws at Thunder Mountain Speedway in 2020, and his final appearance was at the USA Nationals at Cedar Lake just a few weeks ago. He'd made only a handful of starts in 2024, but still showed speed, including an 11th place run during his prelim feature at the Dream, and a pair of top 5 runs, one against the Spring Nationals at Tazewell and a 2nd place finish with the Hunt the Front series at Alltech. He'd also had 2 nasty crashes this year, including with Hunt the Front at Ultimate Motorsports Park and that wild flip during Dream's Saturday at Eldora when he tangled with Shannon Babb. Even at 60 years old, Bloomquist was still running right on the ragged edge. Through my own career in dirt racing, the one notable run-in I had with Bloomer was at Volusia in 2016. He'd won a feature during DIRTRACKR Nationals, climbed out of his car, he sprayed water all over the photographers and people in Victory Lane, which included me, and then got on the stage and promptly told Blake Anderson about winning jewels on a gambling machine in Tampa days before, and then shouted, "Let it rain." He closed out by biting the head of the Gator Trophy during Victory Lane photos. If you're looking for good Bloomquist tribute stuff, let me point you to the nearly 2-hour live stream that Michael Rigsby did with Flow Racing. I believe it's available on Flow, YouTube, and Facebook. There's also a good written piece from Dave Argerbright at Dirt on Dirt. Feel free to share your own thoughts and memories about Bloomquist in the comment section below. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday out there. We'll see you back here tomorrow.